I'm Mega Mike the Movie Man, and today I got a mega movie plan. Today, I'm back with another mega review for you all. I'm going to be reviewing the movie Redeeming Love. No spoilers here, I'm just going to go over my general thoughts of the movie. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and my recommendation on whether you should go out and see this movie or not. So stick around to the end of the video for that recommendation. So without further ado, let's get started!
No, choose the life you have, but you can choose the life you want.
Now to get into some good of the movie. So Redeeming Love is a old western romance film based on a novel. And initially I liked the premise and setup of this movie. It opens up with focusing on the California gold rush, and it shows a mining sequence. And I think that does a good job of transporting us to the location and time period of this movie. And to go along with that, all the set design and costume design here is done perfectly. To me, it feels very authentic to that environment and time period. So that whole initial setup is working well for me. And also, I did like the main lead actor in this movie playing the character of Michael. I thought he gave a really genuine performance. His character was likable, kind, and it's somebody you're really going to want to root for in the movie. So I think this movie had a few ingredients here to set it up to where it could be something decent. So had some decent potential at the start of this movie. And I will say at the end of the movie, I think it does end with a decent enough emotional impact. I think the last 10 minutes of this movie is actually pretty solid and it ends well enough. So I will give it that. It starts off pretty strong, it ends decently strong. It's just all that stuff in the middle we gotta talk about next.
She'll be better off here.
No, she won't.
Now to get into the bad of the movie. So I went into this movie with pretty low expectations. Western movies aren't my favorite genre. Romance movies aren't my favorite genre. Even though there are some great westerns I really enjoy, and even though there are some awesome romances I really enjoy, it's never been my favorite. So the bar was set pretty low for me. However, this movie still disappointed. It is definitely a true January release of a movie. So the movie is supposed to be a true romance story. At least that's what they're trying to sell you on in the marketing. But it really isn't that very romantic of a movie. It doesn't even get into any really romantic scenes till the second half of the movie. And even then, there's so few far and in between that it really isn't a romance movie in my opinion. Even though it's trying to be that, it's just not enough romance in there to really, I think, justify it being a romance movie. And if you see this movie, you'll know what I mean. There's a lot of harsh and graphic scenes throughout this movie. And just when you think, it can't get any worse, can it? It does another really harsh and graphic scene. And it keeps going on that throughout the whole movie constantly. And this movie does a lot of repeating, and it's really weird. And it's outrageously long. Like, this movie is pushing 2 hours and 30 minutes. I thought it was going to be like a 2 hour movie tops, maybe, hopefully an hour and a half. This movie is outrageously way too long for what it is trying to do. And it repeats patterns of just things it already has gone through. And the main female lead in this movie, even though I think she's doing her best performance she can, just the script she was given doesn't really serve her well at all in this movie. And it feels like she goes back into the same negative behaviors she had before. And to me, it's like, come on, let's move on with the story. Okay, we got out of that bad situation. Now let's move on to something a little bit more happy and romantic. But no, it keeps going through that cycle, and it feels like she doesn't learn at all throughout most of the movie, and she keeps repeating the same mistakes. And I don't like to see that in a movie. I like to see really good character arcs where characters grow and learn and become better. And eventually it happens, like the last 10 minutes of the movie, but it just took forever to get there. Wow, they needed to cut like 45 minutes out of this movie at least. It just doesn't work. Like I said, the focus doesn't seem to be on the romance here. It's just too many harsh themes that might gross some people out, and I just don't think it works overall. And then all the flashback sequences, I think there's way too many of those in the movie, and the child actor they have for it, just something was off with the performance there. Sometimes the performance was very monotone, and I just wasn't buying into it for some of the scenes, and it was just too many of them. So this movie really never really picked up for me as much as I wanted to, and every time I thought, okay, now we're getting going on this movie story, and then would go slow down again. So this movie can be a big snooze fest at a lot of times throughout it, and it's just edited together and put together in a very strange way. It just was such a big disappointment.
I'm gonna kill you.
Now to get into my recommendation of the movie. Now, should you go out and see this movie or not? Well, you can probably tell off my bad section. No, it's a very tough recommendation here. I'm trying to think. Usually I recommend this movie to some type of people, people that would really be into romance movies. But I don't think so, because I don't think there was a strong enough emphasis on the romance here. There's way better romance movies out there, and this movie just has too many harsh scenes, like I mentioned, that I really don't think somebody that's into romance movies will most likely be into the other stuff that happens in this movie. So it's a weird combination to recommend here. And so I'm going to say most people, this is totally a skippable movie, probably the worst movie I've seen this month so far. And yeah, that's kind of a shame. I hoped it would be just a little bit better so I could recommend it to somebody out there. But I mean, even if you're bored, I really would go with just a streaming option over this one at this moment. So yeah, totally skippable. I don't think it's going to be worth anybody's time. Just this movie did not redeem itself enough by the end.
Deserves a decent girl, not you.
So that will do it for today's mega review of Redeeming Love. Let me know in the comments below. Have you even heard of this movie before? Like I said, I don't think there was a lot of marketing for it. So was anybody out there actually planning on seeing this movie? Or even better yet, can we recommend some decent romance movies down in the comments below that people might be interested in seeing over this one? I'm sure there's a ton out there that are a lot better than this option here. So let's get those recommendations going. Also, if you're just discovering my channel, make sure you subscribe right now. That way I can get you all that future movie review, movie ranking, movie haul, and movie news content. I post often, and I don't want you to miss out on any of that movie entertainment value. So turn on that notification bell, and that way you can see when I post videos. Also, like the video, and this is Mega Mike the Movie Man reminding you to make every day a movie day, but this time with a different movie.